Practicing Qigong in a thunderstorm. That is going to be the topic of this episode of Qi Life. Alright, before I get too much into the topic of the vlog, this is a little bit of a reveal. I think in the last one I said, I wonder where I'm going next. I'm not going to keep you waiting for too long. If you've been watching the channel, you'll probably recognize some of this scenery. And in particular, you'll probably recognize this person. This is Tiana. So I am back in Montenegro. I'm going to be here for a little while, sorting a few things out, and hopefully getting a bunch of work done on some course material. And Tiana might even help me with some of that.
Maybe.
All right. So like I was saying, what you might have seen, particularly this bridge behind me and some of the other vlogs. I'm pretty sure I recorded some with that in the background. And you can see, like when I recorded those other vlogs, the water was, the river was basically dry, and now it's pretty high. And if we look over here, the river that it flows into is really, really high. And actually, this bridge back here, Tiana actually sent me a photo about a week ago, I think it was. They've had some really heavy rain here, and the water was almost to the top of that bridge. So they've had some serious rain here. So that's kind of topical with the thunderstorm thing. And then also in my last vlog, I think I mentioned I was just leaving the US, where they just had one big hurricane where I was, and there's another one on its way, should be hitting pretty soon. Big storm activity going on there. And then of course the third thing that makes it topical is someone sent me an email asking me about this. And this is something that I've talked about previously. I don't think I've talked about it directly on this vlog though. It's a topic that comes up sometimes when I'm working individually with people, or certainly on some of the Long White Cloud Qigong courses when we're discussing lots of different things to do with Qigong. And people will ask, well, what about in a storm? Is it a good idea to practice Qigong in a storm or not? And the answer, of course, is it depends. There's context around that, whether it's going to be a good thing or not. And so I'll discuss some of that. And also more broadly, not just about thunderstorms, about some other things to do with energy in our environment and practicing Qigong. Because there can be a tendency amongst some people to think that, well, stronger is always better, or more is always better, and it's really not the case. Now, there is a place for stronger and more, absolutely, that can be good in the right situation, but at other times, stronger or more of something can actually be harmful. And this definitely applies to Qigong in our environment. The energy of a thunderstorm is big, strong energy, hopefully. Hopefully it's fairly easy to notice. You notice, wow, that's a big, strong energy, lightning and wind and big vortexes of movement of air and moisture, and and with that, other types of energy naturally flows as well. So there's lots of movement of strong energy in a thunderstorm. For most people, that movement of energy is going to be a bit strong for them to practice Qigong in, because certainly some Qigong practices we focus very directly on connecting to the energy in the environment around us, right? Other practices, even if we're not focusing directly on that, the energy in the environment around us still affects us. Even if we're not thinking about it, not particularly aware of it, it's still going to affect us. And our energy system is, or can be, a fairly delicate sort of thing. And you can think of, the weather around us, certainly the energy of heaven and earth, we talk about that quite a lot, and other energy in our environment. You can think of this like, plugging into a source of energy, and that then flows through us, and it powers a lot of what we do within our practice and within our lives. And if you just go and plug your power cord, for yourself into a much stronger than usual source of energy, if your system is not prepared for that, it can overload it. It can cause some problems. And so for most people at the early and even intermediate stages of their practice, you're either going to want to avoid practicing Qigong in a thunderstorm, or if you are going to do some type of practice, if anything, it's going to be a type of practice where you're looking to discharge and release excess energy, or just very gently calm and balance your energy, right, to settle things down. You're generally not going to be looking to do, or it's not going to be a good idea, because who knows what you might do, but it's not going to be a good idea to be doing practices where you're looking to connect and draw that energy in and store it up, because for most people that is going to be too strong, too much. Now, having said that, as you progress in your Qigong practice and you develop a bit further, you may get to the point where actually your energy system is stronger, it's more resilient, and you are able to deal with stronger energies. In which case, even then, I wouldn't dive straight into practicing Qigong and gathering energy from a big thunderstorm straight away, but you might little by little work with stronger energy in your environment and see what your interaction with that is like, and find your point where you're comfortable, and that can be, well, really interesting for a start, but yeah, you can get some strong energy as part of that, and that can be, yeah, again, at the very least interesting, but also beneficial if your system is prepared for it. Now, I will add to that, again, it's not just thunderstorms. This applies to other aspects of energy in our environment as well. There's lots of different powerful sources of energy. I'm just trying to think what examples I should use, because some of them are quite famous, where there's, some places with, really, really, really strong natural energy. I won't list any particularly, but again, sometimes people think, great, I'll go practice Qigong at this place with really, really strong energy. And again, if you're not prepared for that, that can actually be harmful. So most of the time when we're looking for energy in our environment to practice and connect to, we're looking for gentle energy, because that's what we can take in easily. Now, as you progress, little by little, you can get to a stage where you can connect to these strong sources of energy that can be a really interesting and worthwhile, valuable experience. But again, that's generally something you want to build up to, with time and experience, and maybe even guidance of, someone who has a lot of experience who can sort of help assess for you, whether it's a good idea to connect, to consciously connect to some particular energy, and actually how you do it, because there's ways you can make the connection more gentle and ways that you can make it much more direct, and okay, what's a way that's going to work for you to be able to connect, experience that energy without overloading your system, essentially. All right, so hopefully that's useful or interesting for at least a few of you. My thoughts definitely go out to people who have some big storms headed their way at this time. I'll probably get this vlog published before that hurricane in the US hits. Hurricane Milton is the one that's on its way. Really hope that you've got everything well prepared and that you get through it. Okay, and Tihana can say goodbye as well. Maybe she'll appear on another vlog before too long as well.